In the depths of Stoic philosophy, we discover that life is like a game of chess, and too often, we find ourselves moving the pieces without thinking about the next move. Have you ever stopped to reflect on how many opportunities we miss by not seeing what truly matters? Imagine waking up one day and realizing you let precious moments slip by, lessons that could have changed your path. Now visualize this. You're standing on the edge of a mountain, looking down at the valley below. Every choice you didn't make, every word you didn't say, weighs on you like a stone in your backpack. And the question that lingers is, what would you do if you had the chance to turn back time? Time is relentless. It waits for no one. And as you watch this video, the truth is that the lessons are all around you, just waiting to be absorbed. What would you do if you knew you were on a deadline? Let's explore these hard but necessary truths together. With each step, a new opportunity for growth arises. So, get ready to open your mind and heart, because some truths might be the turning point you didn't know you needed. Before we start, don't forget to like our content, and if you haven't yet, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Marcus Aurelius teaches us about the value of personal relationships and self-knowledge. You know, when I look around, I realize that personal relationships are truly what give life meaning. It's no wonder people say life is made of moments, and those moments become even more special when shared with friends and family. Sometimes the hustle and bustle of daily life makes us forget to value these connections. A simple coffee with a friend or a heartfelt conversation with a family member can be revitalizing. I remember a time when I was going through a rough patch. The feeling of isolation was heavy, but a call from a friend changed everything. He didn't say anything extraordinary, but just knowing someone cared was a balm for the soul. These relationships offer emotional support that's hard to find anywhere else. They are like anchors in the chaos of life. Moreover, cultivating these relationships requires conscious effort. You can't expect people to always be there if you don't do your part. Sometimes you have to give up precious time to pay attention to those you love. The reward, however, is immeasurable. The feeling of belonging and being connected to something greater is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. And it's not just about friendships or family ties. The value of relationships extends to every aspect of life. At work, for example, having a good relationship with colleagues can turn a stressful environment into a more collaborative and productive space. Human interactions are fundamental to our well-being and happiness. Finally, when reflecting on the value of personal relationships, I realize that we are all in this journey together. As we navigate life's waves, it's the support of others that keeps us moving forward and reminds us that we are not alone. After all, what would our victories be without someone to celebrate them with us? Self-knowledge. It's a topic that often seems distant, but it's so crucial to our happiness. Understanding our emotions, desires, and limits is like having a map in an unknown territory. Without this understanding, we risk getting lost in decisions that don't reflect who we really are. It's a process that, I admit, can be challenging, but it's also liberating. I started to focus on this when I realized many of my reactions were impulsive and often disproportionate. Looking inward, I found I didn't fully understand what motivated me. This closer look helped me identify behavior patterns that honestly no longer served me. By better understanding my emotions, I was able to start making more conscious decisions aligned with what I really want. The practice of self-reflection also became essential. Taking time for myself, whether by journaling or just meditating, has been a real game changer. These pauses have helped me discover what truly matters to me and what I value in life. It's funny how often we're so busy that we forget to ask ourselves what we really want. Moreover, it's important to recognize our limits. There's no point in trying to be Superman and ending up burned out. Learning to say no and respecting our own limits is an act of self-love, and believe me, it strengthens us. By acknowledging our vulnerabilities, we become kinder to ourselves and, consequently, to others. Ultimately, self-knowledge is an ongoing journey. What I know about myself today may not be what I know tomorrow. And that's okay. The beauty lies in constant evolution. As we learn more about ourselves, we become more authentic and capable of building more meaningful relationships with others. We live in such a fast-paced world that we often forget the importance of valuing time. The truth is that each moment is unique, and when we fail to appreciate them, we risk missing out on valuable experiences. I began to realize this when I noticed I was putting off dreams and plans, thinking there would always be tomorrow to achieve them. I remember a time I planned an incredible trip with friends. However, because I was so immersed in work and commitments, I kept postponing it. When I finally took the plunge and we went, I realized those days together were exactly what I needed. The laughter, the conversations, and the moments of relaxation were priceless. This experience taught me that time is a precious gift we shouldn't waste. Living in the present is a challenge, but it's something I strive for more and more. When I'm with family or friends, I try to disconnect from my phone and be truly present. Those small interactions, like a smile or a hug, are moments that become eternal memories. Life is made up of these little details that, if not appreciated, can go unnoticed. Another important aspect is understanding that time waits for no one. The urgency to live fully teaches us not to procrastinate. If you have a dream, pursue it now. The temptation to delay is strong, but the truth is that time can surprise us in many ways. Seizing every moment is, therefore, a call to action. In the end, valuing time is a way to honor life. By recognizing its brevity, we become more grateful for the experiences and the people around us. Each day is a new opportunity to create memories that will stay with us forever. Talking about resilience and adaptability is almost like discussing survival skills in an ever-changing world. Since I started approaching life this way, everything changed. When something doesn't go as planned, instead of panicking, I try to see the situation from a new perspective. Life is full of ups and downs, and learning to deal with them is essential for our growth. Once, I went through a tough situation at work. A project I had invested so much time and energy into didn't work out. At first, it was a hard blow, but reflecting on the experience, I realized I could learn a lot from it. This mindset shift helped me develop resilience I didn't know I had. Every difficulty became an opportunity to reinvent myself. Adaptability, on the other hand, is like a muscle we need to exercise. When we are open to change, life becomes more fluid. I learned that instead of clinging to a rigid plan, it's better to be willing to adjust the course. This doesn't mean we don't have goals. It means we're flexible enough to find new paths when necessary. Life also teaches us that resilience isn't something we achieve alone. The people around us play a crucial role in this process. Having a support network, whether family or friends, can make all the difference when facing challenges. Sharing experiences and listening to other stories of overcoming strengthens and inspires us to keep going. In the end, resilience and adaptability prepare us for the surprises life throws our way. When we accept that changes and difficulties are part of the journey, we become stronger and more capable of weathering any storm. After all, it's in adversity that we truly discover what we're made of. Taking care of mental and physical health is a topic we often overlook until life gives us a wake-up call. I've been through that myself. I thought I had everything under control, but in reality, I was neglecting my health. One day I realized my body was complaining. Constant pain and a lack of energy were signs that I needed to pay more attention to myself. Sometimes the busy routine makes us forget that we're human and that we need care. Mental health, on the other hand, is an aspect we can't ignore. We all face daily stress and anxieties, and without proper care, this can turn into something much more serious. I've learned that stopping to meditate or even talking to a friend can make a huge difference. It's like emptying a bucket full of water. By releasing a little, I feel lighter and more balanced. Another important point is the relationship between physical and mental health. What I've noticed is that when I exercise, my mind also becomes clearer. It's a kind of positive cycle. When I'm physically well, my self-esteem rises, and this directly reflects on my mental health. I'm not an athlete, but even a brisk walk makes me feel like I'm taking care of myself. That feeling of well-being is something priceless. Moreover, We can't forget that taking care of our health isn't just about avoiding diseases. It's also about living with quality. I wish I had learned this earlier, but it's never too late to change habits. Healthy eating, for example, has become a priority in my life. Every meal is an opportunity to nourish my body and consequently my mind. What I put on my plate has a direct impact on my emotional state. Finally, it's essential to monitor our health. Regular doctor visits and preventive exams are things I didn't take seriously for a long time. But the truth is, we can't wait for problems to arise before acting. Prevention is always the best medicine, and taking care of ourselves should be a daily priority. Talking about forgiveness is always a challenge. Often we hold on to resentments for so long that we forget the weight they carry. I found myself in situations where resentment consumed me, and I realized that true forgiveness is more about me than the other person. Releasing hatred and resentment is a gift we give ourselves. Therefore, learning to forgive, both myself and others, has become a necessary practice in my life. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting what happened, but rather living without the burden of hurt. I remember an episode where I was very upset with a friend. Time passed, and instead of feeling lighter, I just felt more tied to the past. When I finally talked to him and expressed my feelings, it was like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. The conversation not only freed me, but also strengthened our friendship. Another point I realized is that forgiveness also involves self-compassion. Often, we are our own harshest critics. I've learned that forgiving myself for past mistakes is crucial to moving forward. If I don't forgive myself, I carry a burden that prevents me from living fully. This doesn't mean ignoring my flaws, but accepting that to err is human and that I can continue to grow from these experiences. Letting go of negative feelings is an essential step toward mental health. When we let go of resentment, we make room for new emotions and experiences. It's like my mind becomes a fertile ground for joy and gratitude. Every time I release something weighing me down, I feel lighter and more available to enjoy life. Finally, forgiveness is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process. Sometimes I might find myself thinking about something that hurt me, and at that moment, I choose to forgive again. It's almost like an exercise in liberation. And the more I practice it, the easier it becomes. In the end, forgiveness is an act of love, both for myself and for others. The value of continuous learning. Epictetus. Life is a journey, and learning should be a constant part of it. I always believed that once I finished school or college, learning was over. But life quickly proved me wrong. Every experience, every interaction, and every challenge I face is an opportunity to learn. This mindset of continuous learning has transformed the way I see the world and myself. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned is that knowledge is not only acquired in books or classrooms. Life experiences, conversations with friends, and even the mistakes we make are rich sources of learning. I remember a job I did that didn't turn out as expected. Instead of letting it discourage me, I decided to analyze what happened and what I could do differently next time. This reflection has become a powerful tool for my personal and professional growth. Additionally, curiosity is a valuable ally. Whenever I encounter a new subject or a skill I want to develop, I seek to learn more about it. I've found myself watching documentaries, reading books, or taking online courses. This thirst for knowledge has helped me adapt to different situations and stand out in various areas of my life. Continuous learning not only enriches my knowledge but also keeps me motivated and engaged. Another important aspect of continuous learning is that it helps me face challenges with an open mind. When I'm willing to learn, I don't see obstacles as barriers, but as opportunities for growth. This shift in perspective allows me to approach difficult situations with more confidence. I've learned that regardless of the outcome, there's always something to be gained from each experience. Ultimately, learning is never in vain. Everything I absorb, consciously or not, becomes part of who I am. Every new skill I acquire or every new idea I explore shapes my worldview. Life is an infinite classroom, and I'm determined to be a dedicated student. After all, learning is never too much, and there's always something new waiting for us. Courage is a word that often seems distant, as if it belongs to a select group of people who do incredible things. But the truth is that each of us can find that courage within ourselves. It's about stepping out of the comfort zone, which can be so cozy but is also a place where dreams remain parked. I've been through this myself, fearing the changes that could lead me down a new path. The truth is that change is often the first step toward growth, and without it, we continue to live a life that is mostly just okay. When I finally decided to change, I realized it wasn't just a matter of courage but of necessity. The fear of failure began to seem smaller than the fear of not trying. I remember a time when I was stuck in a job that didn't satisfy me. The idea of risking everything for something uncertain terrified me, but at the same time I knew I needed more. Having courage doesn't mean not feeling fear. It means acting despite it. And so I took the first step, and the freedom I found was surprising. What really motivated me was realizing that life is too short to settle for what doesn't bring happiness. Every little act of courage I took accumulated, creating a domino effect. This shift in perspective led me to explore new interests, seek new friendships, and even travel to places I always dreamed of visiting. Life began to expand in ways I never imagined possible, and I realized that courage isn't just about facing big challenges, but also about making small choices that will lead to a better future. And when I look back, I see that the courage to change was a turning point in my life. It's an ongoing journey. Every new experience brings the opportunity to learn more about myself and the world around me. The difficulties I faced along the way became valuable lessons. I learned that true courage isn't the absence of fear, but the determination to move forward, even when everything seems uncertain. So when you think about change, remember that courage is within you. It's just a matter of taking the first step. And believe me, every step you take toward the unknown can lead to a much richer and more fulfilling life. You are not alone on this journey. We all have the capacity to change and find the courage we need to live fully. Life is full of simple moments, but they often go unnoticed in the rush of everyday life. I've learned that to find genuine happiness, it's essential to pay attention to these small things. A hot cup of coffee in the morning, a friend's smile, or even the smell of rain falling. These moments may seem trivial, but when you truly appreciate them, they become treasures that brighten your day. Recently, I started practicing gratitude, and it has changed how I see the world. Instead of focusing on big achievements or future plans, I began noting the small things that made me happy. It may seem silly, but you wouldn't believe how a simple sunset can warm your heart when you really take the time to look. This practice has helped me slow down and value the present, creating a sense of contentment I had never experienced before. Moreover, I found joy in everyday activities that used to be just chores. Cooking, for example, has become a moment of relaxation and creativity. With each recipe I tried, I discovered not only new flavors, but also the satisfaction of creating something with my own hands. These simple experiences connected me more with my essence and taught me the importance of living in the now. Appreciating the little things has also helped me cultivate deeper relationships. When you value the simple moments with friends and family, like a dinner at home or a casual conversation, you realize that these moments are what truly matter. They strengthen bonds and create memories that are forever etched in the heart. I've learned that life's true wealth isn't in grand achievements but in the connections we make along the way. So the next time you feel overwhelmed or dissatisfied, take a break and pay attention to what's around you. You may be surprised by the amount of beauty and joy that exists in the small things. Life is a collection of moments, and by appreciating them, you discover a lighter and more fulfilling way of living. Life is full of choices, and each one carries a responsibility. I've always believed that understanding the consequences of my decisions is fundamental to living fully. When we're young, we often act on impulse, but as we grow older, we realize that every choice has an impact, not just on our lives but also on the lives of those around us. This awareness led me to reflect more on what it means to be responsible. Once, I made a decision that seemed harmless at the time, but ended up affecting my life and the lives of others in ways I hadn't considered. I learned the hard way that consequences are often long and complex. Since then, I've made an effort to weigh my options before acting. Doing this doesn't mean I always make the right decision, but it helps me be more conscious of my role in the world. Moreover, taking responsibility for my choices has given me a sense of empowerment. Instead of blaming circumstances or others, I started seeing how I could shape my reality. This shift in mindset was liberating. When you accept that you are responsible for your actions, you also become the agent of your change, and that's something no one can take away from you. Understanding the consequences also helped me be more empathetic. When you realize that everyone is dealing with their own choices and respective consequences, you start seeing the world more compassionately. This has made me value the people around me and recognize that everyone is on their own journey, with ups and downs. This empathy enriches my relationships and makes me want to be a positive influence in others' lives. Finally, Marcus Aurelius says, "Responsibility is one of the pillars that support the life we aspire to." By understanding that our choices have consequences, we become more selective and intentional in the decisions we make. And this, in turn, leads to a more authentic life aligned with our values. It's an invitation to live with purpose and the certainty that every action counts in the story we're building. So, have you stopped to think about what really matters in life? Sometimes we get lost in such small worries that we forget about the essentials. Imagine if we could look at our lives from a new perspective, as the Stoics teach us. What would you say to yourself if you knew you only had today? Now think of a lesson you learned that could have changed everything if you had applied it earlier. What is it? Life is short, and every second counts. What will you do with the time you still have? Remember, the biggest changes start with small actions, and if you could apply just one Stoic lesson today, how about starting to practice gratitude? Look around and value what you have, the people you love, and even the challenges that shape you. In the end, life doesn't wait. The lessons of the Stoics are there, ready to be embraced. What will you do now? What will change? Share your reflections in the comments. And don't forget, every day is a new opportunity to become the best version of yourself. If you watched until the end, write in the comments, "I am Stoic," to let us know you made it here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel Millennial Stoicism. Let's embark on this journey together.